Hello.
What is it, Tyndall?
What is it like living with the firstlings? I haven't seen much yet, but many things seem to be different to life with the secondlings in Ogre's Death.
I can't make any real comparisons either. I grew up here and have never left our kingdom. I can hardly wait to see the halls of the Fiflings. They were the best smiths before we took on the mantle.
Don't expect too much. Their halls have been in the hands of the enemy for over 1,000 cycles.
I read that the orcs avoid the stronghold, as if there were a curse on it.
Even reading doesn't seem to be frowned upon among the firstlings. You feel at home here. But that isn't only down to the books.
It would seem that a lot of important positions are occupied by female dwarves in the Firstling Kingdom.
Is it not common where you come from that men and women share the duties?
Of course. Among the humans and the secondlings, the women help out in the house so that the men have time for their duties. That's how it is written in the books, too.
Here, posts are assigned according to the skills of the applicant, not gender. It's only natural that the most important posts are occupied by women.
She winks at you and gives you a knowing glance, although the whole thing still befuddles you.
See you later.
Ah, Tungdil. I was wondering when you would pay me a visit.
I thank you, and Jeroen. You appeared at the right moment. May I, ask why?
It was down to you. Your speech about the responsibility I owe to my realm. Lot Yonan was a good teacher.
Her face darkens when she thinks of her old companion.
There are 100 reasons that Nodon deserves to die. That is why I went back to the secondlings and took another look through the books. I discovered a passage that said Keenfire can only take its effect against evil when it is wielded by a foe of the Undergrounders.
A foe of the Undergrounders? It's going to be difficult to persuade Nork to help us.
I didn't mean to eavesdrop, but I think I might have an answer to the problem. The Alpha are also your foes, aren't they?
What the...
Half human, half elf. My mother bequeathed me her gifts and her weapons. I got very little from my father, but his eyes are an advantage.
And you're sure that only a foe of the Undergrounders can use Keenfire?
Anyone can use it like a normal axe, but only a foe of the Undergrounders can command its magical powers. I don't know much about her, but a half-elf should pass as a foe of all dwarves.
We should keep your parentage secret, especially from Geralda.
I'm in no doubt that the Alpha did terrible things to her. And I'm not keen on letting her kill me.
If what Namora told me earlier is true, this Geralda could be just as great a danger as Nodon. She could take control of generals or kings, maybe even me.
You are aware of the danger, but you don't have the energy to think about it right now. You push the problem aside.
Then that's agreed. We will keep Namora's secret to ourselves. All right then. You will wield Keenfire in the battle against Nodon. But we're going to have to make it first.
You said it.
The actress takes her leave with a little nod.
How are things with Jeroen? Could you help him?
He's doing well. He should be back to full strength after some rest.
You still don't know what kind of being is hidden under the armor. But the Mager's powers seem to have done a good job.
The firstlings have offered to improve his armor. And when one of the best smiths in Girdlegard offers something like that, you should definitely take them up on it.
How was Sinthras able to overcome your shield? Can Alfar use magic?
No, certainly not. I don't know much about their people, but I think they have innate powers. Conjuring darkness, extinguishing fire, changing dreams. Little things that fill humans with fear and ensure the potency of terrifying legends about their people. Sintherast used a trick, not a spell. We killed 2 Alfar near Sovereignstone. They had crystals on them which they had received from Nod On to protect them from the spells of the Magi. He must have used a stone like that.
How are you and your powers? You look a little exhausted.
I won't lie to you. It has already been too long since I was in a place where I can draw new strength. My power is trickling away like water from a leaky pipe.
Is that perhaps a way to weaken Nod On?
No, I wouldn't count on that. Even if we could keep him away from the magical realms, the being that lives within him has given him unknown powers.
Take some rest. And I hope you'll still be here at dawn.
The Mager gives you a reproachful look.
Don't worry. We'll stand by you until this expedition has reached its destination.
It feels good having the Mager and her companion at your side again.
Tungdil.
How is he?
He's lost a hell of a lot of blood.
The crazy glint in Boindale's eyes has given way to serious concern.
I'm doing fine. You must rest, brother. Stay on your back so the wounds can heal. Fortunately, he hasn't lost his pig-headedness. As long as he has that, he'll come through.
Boindale forces a grin, but you can imagine what he's really thinking and feeling.
I thought Antikai was going to look after him. Didn't her magic help?
We don't want her help. Magic is no use. And we certainly don't want anything to do with Samerson.
You know there is no point arguing with the twins about magic. There is too much of a fine line between conviction and stubbornness. Boindale would rather die than be healed by the Mager.
We'll have to go on without him. He won't manage more than 100 paces without dropping down dead the state he's in.
No! I'll manage, Scholar. Just give me 2 orbits, then I'll be fine. It's just a scratch.
Boindale tries to stand up, but he doesn't have the strength. You shake your head.
Stay here and recover, Boindale. We'll meet you again in time for the big battle against Nod On. You have done your bit.
But where one of us is, the other is too. It is the greatest deed that has ever been carried out by our people. Oh. It would seem you are right, Scholar. We'll be separated for the first time in our lives. I will miss you by my side in battle. The first 100 runts will be for you. You will have to protect him and the others on your own now, brother. Don't take on too much, and rein in your frenzy. You must control your anger better than you usually do. Promise me. I promise.
Tears run down the bearded cheeks of the 2 twins. They have never had to part like this before.
It is simply legendary. No, it is mythical. We definitely need a large theatre so we can convey the impression of this grandeur to the spectators.
It's going to be difficult, but we'll manage it. But it will be more expensive.
It would appear you like it here.
Like it? It is fabulous. I almost feel like giving up. Not even the best of illusions could possibly imitate this. But say, what brings you to us, Tungdil?
Every step from here on is more dangerous than the last. Are you sure you want to continue on our journey with us?
Of course. Every story needs an end. What kind of play would it be without a third act?
There is no way I'm going to let Namora ride into battle on her own. I will be there to assist her.
Why didn't you say that Namora is half-elf?
If our spectators knew, they would run away screaming. So I'm sure you'll understand that we couldn't tell a group of armed dwarves either.
You have to admit that you don't know how you would have reacted if Namora had revealed herself in Mifadania. Fear and hatred of the Alpha is deeply rooted.
You already know her, Tungdil. She has skills, but her lineage does not determine how she thinks and acts. She is the love of my life, and I would go crazy if I were to lose her.
And how is your new play coming along?
Good, very good. The band of adventurers who set off to defeat Nodon, aided by the Queen of the Dwarves from the Kingdom of the Firstlings. It's going to be a real challenge to present this story in all its greatness.
Do you already have a title?
I haven't decided for sure yet, but at the moment I'm thinking along the lines of the heroic dwarves and their loyal companions who opposed Nodon despite all the challenges to destroy him and save Girdlegard.
I must go. Rest now.
Rest? Haven't you seen? There are machines that keep the whole city alive. I must take a look.
You guess that this water powers all the machines in the underground city. A masterpiece of engineering.
I've gathered all of the metal we need for Keenfire. I'm ready to depart.
You nod and then look her solemnly in the eyes.
Once we set off, stay in the background, keep out of fights, and avoid all danger.
The female dwarf's expression darkens.
Shall we engage in a trial fight, Mr. Dwarf?
No, Bifracus. No, I know that female dwarves can fight. It's because of the axe. You're the only one who can forge it. If something happens to you, we won't be able to stop Nodon.
The face of the smith relaxes, and then a smile appears on her lips.
I can look after myself.
Greetings, Queen Zamtis.
The Queen bows her head slightly, prompting you to speak.
Please excuse me for asking, Your Highness, but how is it that a queen is sitting on the firstling throne?
The Queen smiles. She has clearly been expecting the question.
It began with an argument. My father valued my mother's advice, but disputed her ability to lead the kingdom. This frustrated her, and she demanded the chance to prove the contrary. In the end, they agreed that my mother would govern the firstlings for 14 orbits. During this time, there was an attack by trolls, and my mother put them to flight with cunning and bravery. When my father demanded the throne again, she defied him, and the clans followed her. The other kingdoms were appalled and refused to receive my mother, but our kingdom saw that she was a good queen, and when she died 230 cycles ago, the people demanded that I should follow her onto the throne.
Is everything ready for our journey to the Kingdom of the Fiftlings?
We have provided wagons for you and your companions. Are your preparations complete?
Yes, we are ready.
The Queen nods slowly.
Rally your companions. I will march east with my host, but don't be misled. The fate of the perished land is in your hands, not mine. May you succeed and return unhurt. Vrakas be with you.
Plains of Tibain are the most fertile in Girdlegard, and rightly give the kingdom its nickname of the breadbasket. The east of the land has been in revolt since the perished land advanced, and the peace seemed to have broken in the heartland too, as a group of strangers crawl out of a hole in the ground.
Why don't we just look for a tunnel that hasn't collapsed?
And what if we don't find one? If we're overground, we at least know that there's a way, even if it's dangerous. Let's go.
Rudeka is, contrary to what the name suggests, a large city. If Rodario is to be believed, more than 70,000 people live here, a number that you find it hard to even imagine. But while you walk through the streets, you don't doubt that it's the truth. Never before have you seen such huge masses of people.
If we are looking for somewhere to quench our thirst or for a roof over our heads, then I would recommend the Golden Well Tavern. And we can find everything we need for the rest of our journey at the Big Market. Just say where you want to go, Tungdill, and I'll show you the way.
You follow Rodario through the lively streets until he reaches a run-down two-story building. You hope that this dump isn't the tavern that Rodario recommends. You prepare yourself for the worst, but the inside of the tavern surprises you all. The walls are clad with dark, finely ornamented wood. The floor is clean, the tables are weighed down with good food, and a hot fire is burning in the fireplace. One should never judge a book by its cover. The guests look you over, full of curiosity, and many nod a greeting. The haggard woman behind the bar greets you loudly.
Rodario, you old rogue! What are you doing here? And you've got dwarves with you! I don't see one my whole life and then several come along in the same month.
We are on an important mission, Madame Flori, and could do with a place to stay the night.
Rodario introduces you and negotiates a good price for a few beds and a night's lodgings.
Sorry for asking, but you said you'd seen some other dwarves recently.
You're thinking of Gandagar's group and wonder whether they might have reached the kingdom of the Fifthlings already.
Yes, a nice bloke from the west. Paid for his room for a month in advance and then disappeared. Travelling light.
The landlady's expression darkens.
That was 3 weeks ago. If he doesn't come back soon, I'll have to release the room.
You give Namora a sign and sneak onto the first floor. The half-elf appears moments later. To your surprise, she has Balandis with her, who must have caught something of what was said.
I want to know who the dwarf who is sneaking around here is. Perhaps he belongs to Gandagar's group.
After apologising to various guests for intruding, you are left with just one untried door. Namora picks the lock and you enter the room unseen. The room is bigger than all the rooms in the tavern you have seen so far, and all just for one guest. There are maps, various pieces of notepaper, and 3 notebooks on the table. The notes are partly written in Dwarvish and partly in the language of humans. The 3 of you scan through them until Balandis draws your attention to a map on which the route from the kingdom of the Firstlings to the kingdom of the Fifthlings is marked.
What would make a firstling travel to the perished land, or even to the kingdom of the Fifthlings?
You believe you've found an explanation.
Here, this letter. I have found a way, but I don't know if I will return safely with Star Slasher. That's why I leave to you, dear Barris, my notes, may you, and so on.
Star Slasher?
You have come across this name in the notes a few times already, but you just shrug your shoulders and throw the letter back onto the table in disappointment. You had hoped to have found out some news on the whereabouts of the other group.
A sword. Apparently it was given to Giselbert I by a caravan travelling from the other lands. It seems we're dealing with a treasure hunter.
The big market at the city's south gate certainly lives up to its name. You have never seen a market on such a scale. Stands, large and small, as far as the eye can see. Everything you could possibly need can be found here, as well as plenty of things that seem to have no use at all. While you push your way through the crowd to get to the trader Rodario wants to introduce to you, you overhear 2 peasants talking about elves.
No, I tell ya, it was elves. Pale skin, pointy ears.
Yeah, something strange is going on these days. Old Trundlewood from down Acrehill way said he saw some pointy ears too. Come to think of it, where's he been all week?
Here we are.
Rodario's sudden announcement draws your attention away from the locals to the tent that you're now standing in front of.
Welcome to Brand's Potpourri. Whatever your heart may desire, I can supply.
Once again you are received warmly by the guests and Madame Florrie at the Golden Well Tavern. You are woken with a jolt in the middle of the night by a blood-curdling scream. You look around in panic and see that the others have been woken too, but only Geralda has beads of sweat on her brow. She's breathing heavily. Concerned, you go over to her.
I can remember. The Alfar. They are doing experiments on the children of the Smith. We have to save them.
Alpha? Experiments? What are you talking about?
I can remember everything. Or at least some of it. I know that I was taken prisoner by the Alfar, along with other dwarfs. They experimented on us and I somehow escaped.
Where was this exactly?
They are here, nearby. It was a village, I think.
An Alfar village in Tabain? Doesn't sound very likely.
By Vracus, if the Alpha are experimenting on dwarves, we can't just ignore it. We have to free the prisoners. We can't save the world if we ignore the suffering right in front of our eyes. We will help Geralda.
Boendal and the others accept your decision. Geralda nods at you gratefully. When you reach Acre Hill, there isn't a single villager in sight. An uneasy feeling creeps over you, which finally turns into certainty when you see red paintings on the walls of the houses.
Alpha.
The pictures, painted in blood, tell the horrifying story of how the Alfar came to the village and killed the inhabitants. You also find a few elaborately carved bones, some larger ones, like those of humans, some smaller and stronger, like those of dwarves. When you reach the other end of the village, disgust is written in the faces of your companions. None of you says a word. As expected, you don't find any survivors, but there are also no undead. The perished land has not yet advanced this far. You discover some footprints on the northern edge of the village.
It was orcs. Looks as though they waited here while the point ears wreaked havoc in the village. It seems like they moved on towards the north.
You gather all the bones you can find together and burn them. You wash over the paintings with water from the well. You weren't able to prevent this gruesome incident, but you don't want to leave a single trace of it behind. You walk through the villages that once blossomed, but are now deserted due to the advance of the parish land. The colour has drained away from the wood of many of the houses, just as it has from the countryside itself. A carpet of withered plants rustles and crackles under your feet. You don't know if the parish land can ever be driven away again, and even if it can, it is questionable whether people will ever live here again. You sigh, and try to drive these dark thoughts away from your mind. The path to Lake Fire lies in front of you. That is where the dragon Brambusil is said to have dwelt, before being killed by the Fifthlings, so they could light the Dragonfire Forge with his flames. Rodario sings a song about the dreadful might of the dragon, and you all look down into the flames below with reverence. When you finally turn away, you think you can see a slight look of sorrow in Boindil's face, sadness at the fact that the dragon has already been defeated by someone else.
Ooh, do you smell that? Come! Oink, oink!
Without even waiting for you, Boindil runs over the hill and disappears behind it. You follow him, and as you reach the brow, you see a very strange scene before you.
I told you you shouldn't touch them.
But I was hungry.
Yes?
Earthlings!
He hardly put up a fight.
Fought well and yet lost.
Killed!
Progress is on its way.
I was expecting more of a battle.
Come here, you.
Earthlings!
Oink, oink, little piggies!
Marcus! That was good trading.
What is it?
Yes?
Yeah! Oink, little piggies!
What is it?
I was expecting more of a battle.
Huh? Vile creature!
And again!
Ha ha! And what now? Vile creature! Oink, oink, little piggies! Yeah! Vile creature! Yeah! What is it? Huh? Who's next? Oink, oink, little piggies! Vile creature! He cheated!
Yes?
Yeah! Vile creature!
Understood. On my way. Attack!
I need some assistance! I can't hold them back!
Vile creature!
Huh? Understood. At once. For Vracus!
Yeah!
End it!
Yeah!
For Vracus! On my way.
Yeah!
At once. On my way. On my way.
Yeah!
End it!
Vile creature!
At once.
Yeah!
Attack! Killed! End it! For Vracus!
Yeah!
End it!
Vile creature!
For Vracus! Attack! And again! End it! Attack!
Vile creature!
For Vracus! Understood. End it! Killed! On my way. Attack! For Vracus! And again!
Yeah!
Attack!
Vile creature!
End it!
Yeah!
The chaotic battle between the orcs, the undead, and you comes to the best possible conclusion. No one else is standing but you. You decide to have a little look around. The closer you get to the murky pool, the worse it stinks of decay and death. At first you thought it was only dirty water, but for as much as you can make out through the gloom, it seems almost black and has wondrous streaks. It's a map of the surroundings. Not far from your current position is a place clearly marked with a red cross. Is it another orc camp, or even the Alfar camp? You mark the place on your own map. You tremble at the thought that you could end up the same way. You hope that one of your companions would have sympathy with you if you were to die in the Perish land. With the probable location of another camp up your sleeve, you continue on your way. With every day you get nearer to the Grey Range, and Geralda gets more restless. Finally, she takes you to task.
Why are we on the way to the kingdom of the Fiflings? You said we would free the imprisoned dwarfs, Tungdil.
Don't worry, Geralda. I just wanted to take a look around. We're still searching for the imprisoned dwarves.
The female dwarf looks into your eyes for a moment, then nods.
I cannot rest while I know that the Alfar are experimenting on our people.
Geralda struggles to keep pace all day, and when you see her struggling, you give the order to set up camp for the night earlier than usual.
Are you all right?
The female dwarf looks ill, and as she's aware of the fact, she doesn't even try to make excuses.
The potion! It's finished! I need more of it!
She looks at you imploringly, as if you could help her. Over the next few days, Geralda's condition grows increasingly worse. She begins to shiver, and more than once you catch her muttering to herself and glancing at Andakai surreptitiously. The Mager claims she does not know what kind of potion it is, and why Geralda might need it. You believe her, but you also notice that Andakai doesn't really seem interested in finding a solution to the problem either. You reach the place that was marked on the orcs' map, and judging by the sight you are presented with, there is no doubt. This is where the Alfar did their experiments.